Do you want to know what are all the virtual reality headsets that are going to launch a goal from here to 2027? And also those of augmented reality? Well, stay in this news video because I'm going to tell you everything. But first of all, as always, we are going to start with the video games. We are going to see what news there is in this world, and there are some very important ones. The first is that Population 1 becomes totally free with a free-to-play model, which will be available from March 9th of this same year, and with which they pretend, well, I imagine, to try to retain a little bit the audience in the virtual reality viewers. And what I'm saying is very important for you to understand at the end of the video. If you are already a buyer of the full game, know that you are going to receive an exclusive pack in which they are going to include a lot of skins and stories, and also they are going to add 1,000 gold coins. This is important to highlight because up to level 10, you will be able to play completely free. But from there, you will have to pay 750 gold coins. That is, we would have practically the same effect as if it were a Fortnite Battle Pass. But what we're going to talk about now is also a very interesting thing. And that is that the Firewall Ultra game developed for PlayStation VR2, according to its developers, is being generated in a real Engine 5. That is, they are using the most powerful engine we can have today to create video games. And this is something very positive. The game really looks very good. I'm hoping it arrives for PlayStation VR2 and be able to take a look at it. The first part that came out in the first PlayStation VR was quite enjoyable. And in this one, I really want to try to see exactly how it is. They also emphasized that they are using the eyepiece in a very advanced way, to include not only the FOV of Randon in the image, but also to be able to use the menus through the game and even the app to aim and throw grenades and things like that with the eyepiece. In addition, from the studio itself, they also indicate that they are preparing for the release of Solaris Off-World Combat 2. And speaking of PlayStation VR 2, we're going to review what happened in the State of Plays, where several video games were released, and of course we're going to name which are the platforms where they're going to be released, because some are not exclusive to this device. In particular, we start with The Foglands, a roguelike adventure created by the studio World Tour Entertainment. The plot takes place in a world full of ancient secrets in which the player must discover new paths. This setting is quite peculiar, and it has particularly caught my attention, so I'll take a look to see if the game really fulfills or not. The information we have is that it will be released this same year, and will arrive for PlayStation VR 2, for PC VR, and for MetaQuest devices. Another release that was announced for the PlayStation VR 2 is the Green Hell VR. In this case, we already know that it is in MetaQuest devices and also in PC VR and PC4. But now it's time for it to come out for this device. If you don't know it, it's a survival adventure in the middle of the Amazon where you will have to survive everything that can happen in your environment and have to rescue your wife. That is also the most important thing. Otherwise, be careful where you step, because on some other occasion I died because of a spider. So that's all I can say. The important thing is that we already know that this game is available both in MetaQuest and in PC VR. So if you have this platform and you are interested, take a look at it. And if not, you will have to wait for the PlayStation VR 2 version that has been announced in this State of Plays. Another game that will come out on different platforms is The Journey to Foundation, a game created by Archie Arp, and the plot of the game revolves around you being a galactic spy master who receives the mission of infiltrating a group of deserters. For those of you who don't know, it's based on the epic science fiction novels by Isaac Asimov, and this will be available in autumn of this year for PlayStation VR 2, MetaQuest, and PC4. And finally, Synapse was also introduced, which in this case is exclusive for the PlayStation VR 2. It is a game created by Endreams, the creators of Fracket or Phantom Cover-Ups. And it has particularly caught my attention, especially for its graphics section, because whether you believe it or not, playing games in black and white is wonderful. You can embody this anti-hero with a brutal firepower and with a skill in your hands to be able to lift your enemies and kill them. So you'll have to take a look at it, because the truth is that it looks very good. That's right, only those who have PlayStation VR 2. And if you also have PlayStation VR 2 and PC VR, you are congratulated, because the next March 21st will finally be launched in the final form of Walking Dead Satan's and Sinner, Chapter 2, Retribution, with all those graphics improvements that everyone was waiting for. If you are willing to survive a zombie apocalypse, it is a game that I recommend. Here on the channel, you already have a video talking about it on the MetaQuest device, but you should know that it is also available on PC4, and that on March 21st, we will have it on PC VR and PlayStation VR 2. By the way, I want to tell you that all the improvements that are going to be incorporated into gameplay and error solution will also reach standalone devices. But, well, we are going to talk about hardware because soon we are going to talk about all the meta news that you are going to freak out in colors. First and foremost, we have to talk about PlayStation VR2. Why? Because it has been dismantled by the difficult people. For those of you who do not know this website, it is a website that is in charge of dismantling bugs to see if they can be repaired easily, and make a small tutorial to be able to do it. Mr. Sarand Mokhtari, who is in charge of making these videos, posted on his Twitter account some images that have already made things much clearer to me. On the contrary, what happens to the viewer, which looks a bit murky? And it is that it has its logical explanation as it had to be normal and common. And I'm sorry if you are not able to see it with this critical spirit, but when you try many things, it is what there is. And it turns out that the screens of the PlayStation VR, although they have OLED screens and they have very beautiful colors and very beautiful blacks, use a distribution of pixels in a pentile shape with a diamond shape. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the same as it was mounted in 2016 on the OLED screens of HTC Vive and Oculus Rift Vive 1. And it was totally horrible because the pixels looked like a fist. And although here we have a higher resolution, it is evident that we are not talking about RGB pixels, which are divided into 3 colors, but each of them is a color, which causes the space between pixels to be quite evident. And although we have a brutal resolution, as is the case with PlayStation VR2, Sony has had to introduce an anti-SD filter. That is a filter that is able to blur the separation that exists between the pixels. Hence one of the main reasons why this device does not look totally clear. It is something that we have to get used to, and that has already existed for many years. Because the first PlayStation VR1 and the Samsung Odyssey Plus received the same treatment when having the same type of panel. If you want to have more information about this, in alejandroruv.com you have an article where I explain it. But as you can see, little by little we are already finding out about some things. So no, I'm not a hater, just the only thing that happens is that I tell the truth, not like others. But hey, let's start talking about the news of the goal, because here there is a little source of the handsome and the good. First and foremost, it seems that they are introducing a series of improvements in the SDK for the subject of manual tracking. That is, being able to have hand tracking and being able to do some things that have not been done before. Specifically, they are going to add the function of teleportation with this technology, in which we will simply have to put our hand up, an arrow will appear where we want to teleport, and joining our index and thumb finger, we will teleport to that area. Little by little, all this technological advance is surging. And you know that you can test all this perfectly, since it is available in the App Lab in the first-hand application. So if you want, you can take a look. But what we are going to take a look at is the plans for the launch of Meta until 2027, because here we are going to talk about a lot of hardware that I think is going to be a wonder. First and foremost, we have to say that there were other models, such as the Cardiff project, that seems to have been cancelled. We did not know exactly what that model was for, but it was rumoured to be an economic model. Now it seems that according to the latest rumours, this is totally discarded. But it is true that Meta has had an internal meeting with all its workers, to which they have been telling them practically everything that is going to happen from now on. In principle, and most importantly, it seems that Meta Quest 2 and Meta Quest Pro have managed to reach 20 million units sold. This, ladies and gentlemen, is a barbarity. That a virtual reality device has sold such a similar amount of products is crazy, with which we are already in a barrier in which the device can even exceed some sales of traditional consoles, especially if we look at the latest generations of Xbox. So this is undoubtedly some very good news. In addition to that, there is one very important thing that Meta has said, and that is that they are going to focus a lot on everything that is retention, because it is useless to have 20 million views sold and that the 20 million are in a drawer. So their proposal is going to be to try that everyone is using the product. How will they do it? Well, maybe one of the options is what has happened with Population 1, which they have made free to play, and that in this way, more people can access this Battle Royale. But hey, talking about hardware, we have to say a lot of things. This year, there will be a new device for virtual reality from the company of Meta. But very important, let's go back to the usual. It will be a device that will not be as economical as the Meta Quest 2. Specifically, the model called Project Stinson, because we still don't know if it's going to be called Quest 3, but it's called Project Stinson. It will be twice as thin, and it will have twice as much power. So be careful with that, because a piece of junk is going to come. But they have also confirmed that it will not be so economical. According to the last comments, it would be closer to $500. So this must be taken into account, and its target audience is the enthusiastic people who are within the virtual reality with MetaQuest devices. That is, all those of you who have a Quest 2 and want something better, you will be able to access this device. And many will say, but I don't have $500 to spend myself. Who knows how many euros it will be? Don't worry, because for that, Meta also has everything planned. If I have told you before that Cardiff, which was supposedly a more economical device, had been cancelled, now we come with the Ventura project. Project Ventura will be the entry-level device for 2024. In principle, it will follow the same path as the Meta Quest 2, which in short is to grow the user base, maintaining the entire product and price strategy. You should know that with the Meta Quest 3, or Project Stinson, when the launch is made this year, they have said that we are going to have more than 40 new games and applications for this device, and that it will be very focused on Meta reality, which is the mixed reality of Meta. And it is very possible that Project Ventura, which is this economical device, will also benefit from all this, but it is also talked about the Project La Jolla. Yes, the rhymes I already know, but I can't tell you here that if not, they close the video. According to Ravkin, who is the director of this virtual reality general, he has commented that this device is in development, which would become the Quest Pro 2, a device designed for telework with the best possible resolution that there can be, and also with technologies such as the Avatar Codec, a hyper-realistic avatar system that would allow us to have telepresence wherever we want. But not only that, but also talking about augmented reality glasses and smart glasses, knowing that this same year the second version of Ray-Ban Stories is going to be launched. If you don't know what Ray-Ban Stories are, they are sunglasses that allow you to take photos and record. In addition, it also serves to receive and answer calls, to listen to music, etc. So in the autumn of this same year, we are going to have this new model that we will see exactly how it is. But the most interesting thing, what really makes my head explode, is that it will be the new augmented reality device that they are designing, which, as they have said, will come in 2025, and that, attention, will incorporate a neural bracelet system. This bracelet has already been presented by Meta in some event, and it is a bracelet capable of capturing all the movements that we want to do in our hand and transfer them to the virtual world. This bracelet also would have smartwatch capabilities, which would even allow us to use it with the same mobile phone. So be careful with that, because I think this is going to be the real deal. Of course, it doesn't look cheap. These new glasses that I am telling you would also incorporate a screen in which we could see text messages, information, and everything useful that we could have, even to be able to transcribe directly from the glasses a conversation in another language. So it is something that must be taken into account for 2025, but the really impressive thing would be when it arrived in 2027, since the second generation of this type of augmented reality glasses would come. As they comment on this leak, we are going to have a device with high quality, high performance, and capable of doing any kind of vulgarity that we can imagine. In addition, these new glasses would also come with this watch that I have told you. Similar to the one that was launched in 2025, but with much more advanced and pure technology. Honestly, I'm looking forward to the moment to be able to try all these products. So family, this is the news video. I hope you liked it. Thank you all for getting here, for leaving the comments, for leaving likes, for sharing the video, and for everything you do. And as I always say, see you in the next video. Do you want to know what are all the virtual reality headsets that are going to launch a goal from here to 2027? And also those of augmented reality? Well, stay in this news video because I'm going to tell you everything.